I'm going to go through 3 areas today that have recently changed that are going to help with attracting direct bookings, which obviously is particularly important. Now, in a previous session, Robin was going through various different areas to help with direct bookings. And one of the areas that he went through was the analytics area, which looks at bookings that have come into your property. And so I'm not going to go through the analytics area again because he's already done it. So if you're wanting to watch that, there is a video on YouTube that you're welcome to go and watch. But there are 2 new sections of the analytics that I'd like to show you that have been added in since Robin last talked to you. So the first thing I should mention is this is a demo account, and that is important. You'll see why in a minute. So if you go through to bookings and then to analytics, you'll see this is the analytics tool. It's had a change to the background of it as well, so it's running a lot faster than it did previously. Not that it was slow before, but now it's like lightning speed. So you can see here that it's got the booking sources just like it did before, and the revenue and the booking profile, so length of stay, how far in advance people are booking, and then this is the first of the new sections. So this is called the booking creation timeline. And you can have this by day, by week, or by month. And it's going to show you for the time period that you have set when you received the booking. So for most people's accounts, they tend to find that guests do a lot of booking late December, early January. And then there's a little bit of a tail off in February, and then it boosts up again kind of later March, depending on when Easter is. And then it goes slightly slower again. And then as we get into the summer, more and more people do their bookings. One of the things that's interesting about that this is changing. And so it's worth double checking your reports here, comparing this year compared to 2025, compared to 2024, and maybe even pre-COVID, because then you'll see a really big difference in booking behaviour, because people are booking later and later. And you'll see that in the latency as well, that we have the report up there. Like how far in advance are guests booking? And we're really seeing that guests are waiting longer, myself included. You know, it's the Easter holidays are coming up in 2 weeks. I haven't booked time away. I plan to go, but I haven't booked it yet. And this is pretty common. So having this information here is really helpful because it helps you plan when you're going to send your mailings or do your social media or go out to events to try and attract new guests. You could also use it as a time where you could use it in 2 ways. So firstly, you could say, I get a lot of bookings in January and February, but I never get very many in March. Maybe I should do some campaigns in March. I should create a discount code, or I could create a free extra to try and incentivize more guests to book with me during that month of March. Or you could use it the other way, where you say, I get loads of bookings in January, so I want to boost that confidence and have my visibility in front of guests. So I'm going to do more communications late December, early January to try and get those people who are looking to book in January to book with me rather than booking with a competitor. So you can use the data in a number of different ways, and definitely worth comparing. So if I go up to the top here, you can see we can do a pick a filter. So if I want to compare when people in 2024 made their bookings, so I can say date booked from 1st of January 2024 and date booked before 1st of January 2025. There we go. If I update that, and actually I'll make them confirmed bookings, and that will exclude any cancelled bookings. So I'll put my status confirmed. Okay, And then I scroll back down. Okay, and this is showing me for 2025, when did my guests make most of their bookings? Now, bear in mind, this is a demo account, so this is not going to reflect normality. And that, I guess I should use that word more carefully, because what's normal for a client with a 1-bedroom flat in Edinburgh is going to be very different to a client with a 4-bedroom cottage in North Berwick. So it's really important that you go and have a look and see, well, what's normal for you, and compare it over time to see how that's changing. Before I move on to the next area, let me also explain to you, there is a section here with what we call hamburger. So there's the 3 lines like a hamburger has, and if you click on it, you can see that you can now download these images, or you can download the data behind it. And that's really important if you're wanting to share that data with a colleague who you don't give access to Bookster, but you want them still to be able to discuss with you when the bookings are coming in. Or perhaps you want to share it with a certain owner that you have. If you're working with multiple owners, you could share data based on a specific property, or you could base it on all bookings just to show the trend without showing anything private. So that is information that you can download. And that hamburger, those 3 lines, they're now available on all the sections within the analytics area. Okay, so you can share that information, and maybe you want to create yourself a report and put that information in as a summary of what happened in 2025, so that next year you can do the same thing and say, okay, let's have a look at my report from 2025, the things that I thought were really important at the time, and let's compare it to a different report that I'm going to pull together for 2026, and let's see what's changed. So it's a good way of doing that. Okay, so this is the second new section here. It's called Booking Creation Days. And again, this shows you that this is a demo account, because we don't work on Saturdays or Sundays. And as you can see, there's no Saturdays or Sundays here because we've not made any bookings. We've not had any bookings on Saturdays or Sundays because we don't work. But you, on the other hand, are going to be receiving bookings on any day of the week. So this is going to actually say Monday to Sunday. And again, this is really interesting because it will help guide you on when you want to do your marketing. So if you have guests and the vast majority of them make a booking on a Sunday or a Monday, then you know sending out a newsletter on a Saturday or a Sunday morning, for example, that's going to put you front of mind for those guests when they're thinking about making a booking on that Sunday or a Monday. And in my head, I always envision a guest waking up, having a cup of tea, checking their phone, seeing a newsletter about a holiday home, getting all excited because it looks wonderful, doing a bit more research, and then making the booking. That's what I see. And certainly it's how I spend my Saturday mornings. So it's worth thinking about that for your social media as well, because if your guests make all their bookings on a Wednesday, well, then on Tuesday nights and Wednesday mornings, that's a good time for you to be getting in there with your social media messages and making yourself visible to those particular guests. This data I think it's incredible. I use this all the time. And again, I like to compare it between last year, this year, and previous years, because this has changed. So a client I was doing a newsletter for the other day, I looked at their data running back several years, and I could see that previously most of their guests booked on a Saturday or a Sunday, and now they're booking on a Sunday or a Monday. So it's really important to think, well, what am I going to do with my marketing to change that or attract those particular guests? And again, the other way of thinking about it is, I don't get very many bookings on Wednesdays or Thursdays, but people must be making bookings. Maybe I should be doing more social media, or maybe I should send out a newsletter on a Wednesday evening. And let's see if I can ignite people to make bookings on those days as well. So you can use it in different ways. And again, if you're wanting to send out an email, you could have a discount code that you create in Bookster, and you send that discount code out. Or you could say, bookings made in March, we're going to offer you a thing, whatever that thing might be, you know, airport collection or a tour of the village, whatever is suitable for your particular area. And I stayed in a place years and years ago, and one of their extras was that they took us around the forest and we collected mushrooms, and then they cooked them up for us, and that's what we had for our lunch. That was a great offer. Okay, so that's analytics. I'm going to move on now to the customization of colors. So if I just flip over to this next screen. So this is for people who have an instant or template website with Bookster. And let me just go over and show you where this is going to have an effect. So this is an instant website. Again, it's our demo site, so it's not real information, it's not real property. But you can see here when somebody clicks book now, it's taken to the booking screens. And these are the booking screens here, and they choose their dates and they go through that process that we've designed to be super slick, that's going to get them to book really quickly. You can see there's not many stages. You can ignore this. This is just test because this is not a real account. And there's the summary, and they click book, and that's the booking made. So that's the booking screens. If I just go back to your booking. And where does that color come from? Well, that color of the booking screens normally comes from the information which is on your website. So you can see here, these are the templates. And then we have these color schemes, which you could previously choose from. So this one has chosen the Gulf. If I went for the retro and I save it, you can see now it's going to change to that retro theme. And that's instant. However, what we've done now, in addition to these, if you wanted to use these, you can still use these. That's absolutely fine. But in addition, you can now go to your settings. And if you scroll down, or if you do a search for the word brand, you'll find it quicker. If you scroll down, you can see here that it says booking screen colors. I would like to, and then you've got a choice of use the recommended color scheme or customize my color scheme. So if you choose use the recommended color scheme, it's going to use those colors that were in those templates that we saw previously, and that's the standard. But you could also customize your color scheme. And if you click that, you're going to find these 5 boxes open up below. And I think the colors of the 5 boxes are kind of grays and whites from memory, but I've been playing with this, so you can see it's got different colors in. Okay, so one of the most important things that you need to remember is when you are choosing your colors for your instant website, you need to choose all the colors. So even if there is a black and a gray there and you think, yeah, I like that color, that doesn't matter. You need to go in to every single one of them and select the color that you want. Okay, this is super, super important. Okay, so for example, header background. I've chosen this rather attractive bright red color. And then we've got primary and primary contrast and secondary contrast. So primary and primary contrast, you need to make sure that they are contrasting colors, because there's no point in having a light blue on top of a dark blue, because it's even for people with good eyesight, that's very difficult to read, and people with poor eyesight won't be able to read it at all. The same for secondary and secondary contrast. There has to be a good contrast between those colors. Why am I saying this? I'm saying this because if you don't put a good contrast, people won't be able to read your booking screens, and that's going to have an effect on whether or not you receive bookings. So first things first, you need to make sure that you choose your colors. So this is the color picker. It will, oh, you can't see the color picker when I'm sharing my screen, but I'm going to tell you that I've clicked on a color picker, and all color pickers are going to look different depending on what web browser you use. And I'm using Chrome, but you can't see what I see anyway, so it makes a difference. So I'm going to choose a kind of a purpley color, which is this nice dark color. And then my primary, I'm going to change it now, and I'm going to make it red, but I'm going to keep my primary contrast as white. And my secondary, I'm going to make it a much lighter yellow, and my secondary contrast, I'm going to keep as this black color. So you can see I've changed all of them. I hit save, takes me up to the top again. And this is the second most important thing that you need to remember. you need to go to your instant website, hit refresh, and you need to look and see what is it that you've done. Because at this point, if you've created a color scheme that is not legible, that is going to be difficult for people who have color blindness, for example, you need to catch it now before it has an impact on your bookings. So for me, I've had a look and I can see, yep, the blue at the top is particularly striking. The red is hurting my eyes, and the light yellow, I'm good with that light yellow. That's fine. So I'm going to go back to my red. I'm just going to do a search for brands, and I'm going to change it off the red because it's not what I'm looking for, and I'll make it a kind of a purpley color, which is a bit more attractive. And I'll come back. There we go. Much more my color scheme, a bit more relaxed. So you can see that on this page here, the header background is this bit up at the top here. And your primary and your primary contrast, you can see that's these purple colors here. And your secondary and your secondary contrast is this text here. However, it's worth remembering that this is going to affect the whole of the booking screens. So if I click to make a journey, as if I was a guest, you can see that now those colors are still here and they're going to be visible all the way through that booking journey for your guest. Okay. You can see here, there's the final colors for the book now. So when you are changing your branding, if you choose to change your branding, absolutely fine. Just remember these two really important facts. One, you need to remember to change them all, set them all, and hit save. And second, you need to go over to your booking screens within your instant website and check that you've done it right. If you have any problems, it's like anything, just jump on a call, ask us. You're more than welcome. Just jump on the chat, send us an email. We'll go and have a look for you. Okay, so that's the customization of colors. I hope you like it. And the final thing to talk about was just an update we've made with Revyoos, which is a company, Revyoos. And the point of Revyoos is that it gathers your guest reviews from different locations and collates them and shows that guest review on your website. So it's reinforcing to your guests that you are a legitimate, bookable property, you're real, other guests have stayed with you, they've loved you, and also that it's honest because it's coming from lots of different locations. You can't cherry pick, oh, I don't like that particular review on that channel and I don't like that one, but I like that one. No, it's going to show all of the reviews, and that adds credibility to your particular website or your particular business because it shows the good, it shows the not so good, and it shows what you've done about it. So you can see down here, CS Holdilight's one of our clients, 4.68 overall is their stars, and they've had 774 reviews. So that would give me confidence that this is a real company and that guests have stayed with them and liked them. And you can click on that widget and you can see it breaks it down between the different locations that it's come from. So that's Airbnb or Booking.com or Google. And you can go through and actually read all of those different reviews that have been left. Now, we already had this, but we've made a change behind the scenes to that reflects a new development that's been made by Revyoos, which means that you can put on your individual property pages information that's only about that particular property, or reviews that's only about that particular property. So if we were to go to Milano, this is the page for ABI Milano or Abbey Milano. And you can see here at the bottom, there is now a reviews widget, which is only showing the reviews for that particular property. So there's been 10 reviews, an average of 4.88. And if you click on it again, you'll see where those reviews have been left. You can read what those reviews are. You can read the review from the response from the hosts. So that's really important, demonstrating that you're listening to your reviews and you're responding. And if there's a problem, that you're responding professionally and that you're going to take action on whatever problem there is. So that information's all here. And again, it's just about providing that extra bit of trust for your guests. Right, so that covers everything that I wanted to cover today. If you have any questions, you're more than welcome to get in touch with me, or get in touch with help@booksterhq.com. Or if you're not a client and you're wanting to speak to our sales team, you can speak to Johnny at hello@booksterhq.com. And it was lovely talking to you. Okay, take care. Thank you.